Welcome to the latest edition of ABA League magazine. Halfway through the season, Budućnost is leading the way, closely followed by Crvena Zvezda and j.t.d. It's just as tight at the bottom, where MZT, Cibona and Sutjeska have 4 wins each. Meet Olympia's top dog, Sava Lešić. As usual, we saved the best for last. Top 5 plays of the round. Slaven Rimac is no longer the coach of Cibona. After 4 consecutive defeats, the club's management decided to part ways with the man who won the club's only ABA League championship ring. Another former player of Cibona, Damir Mulaomerovic, will take over as coach. After the 6th consecutive defeat, MZT Skopje and coach Aleš Pipan ended their collaboration. After the loss to j.t.d, Slovenian coach decided to leave the team he led to 2 Macedonian championship titles and 1 trophy in the National Cup. Point guard Radenko Pilčević is no longer a member of Metalac. He arrived to Valjevo after Babović and Pot left, but in 7 ABA League games averaged only 3 points and 2 assists per game. Budućnost secured first place in the standings with a resounding win in Zagreb. The team from Podgorica celebrated their 11th triumph this season by beating Cibona 91-69. There is no doubt that the defining segment of the game was Budućnost's excellent field goal percentage. They even scored 17 3-pointers out of 33. Former University of Kentucky player Doron Lamb joined Luka Pavicevic's team on the court for the first time. He needed only 20 minutes to score 17 points, shooting 6 out of 8 from the field. Still without the injured Ante Žižić, Cibona dominated the court in the first quarter, ending the period with a 7-point lead. Budućnost came out strong in the second, and after 9 unanswered points took the lead. The home team managed to keep up and was down by only 6 at the halftime. It all fell apart in the third, when Cibona managed to score only 7 points while allowing 26. The home team tried to minimize the loss, but came out with an embarrassing defeat. Tadija Dragicevic starred once again on the visiting team, good on 8 out of his 11 field goals, with 4 3-pointers for the game-high 23 points. Besides Dragicevic and Lamb, Subotic and Šehović stood out with 16 and 11 points, respectively. Top scorers for Cibona were Krušlin with 14 and Rozic with 13 points. Despite the loss, this was a memorable game for Nebojša Joksimović. With 11 points, the Slovenian veteran took over Siniša Štemberger as the top scorer in the history of ABA League. After 4 consecutive defeats, this wasn't much of a comfort for Cibona's fans, or coach Slaven Rimac, who was replaced with Damir Mulaomerovic. In a traditionally tough matchup in Novo Mesto, Crvena Zvezda managed to defeat Krka 71-65 and record its 10th victory this season. Defending champions were reinforced with Marcus Williams, who played his first ABA League game following a suspension. The visiting team started off well, but halfway through the first period, Krka took the lead and held on to it until halftime. Dejan Radonjic's men were ineffective on both offense and defense, allowing the home team to reach a 9-point lead with a 7-0 run at the beginning of the second period. Unlike the guests, Ivan Velic's team had a great field goal and a 3-point percentage, hitting 4 out of their 9 shots from outside the 6.75-meter line. Crvena Zvezda also used consecutive 3-pointers to reach a minimum deficit, but the home team once again took charge in the dying minutes of the first half, ending it with a lead 40-35. The Red and White's offense didn't improve significantly in the second half, but the team from Belgrade made a comeback with vigorous defense, denying Krka any further space for shots from distance. Defending champions' aggressive defense forced 22 turnovers from Krka. At the beginning of the final period, the team from Novo Mesto took the lead for the last time, before Stefan Jovic sparked a run to give the guests a 10-point lead halfway through the fourth quarter. The game's top performer, Luka Lapornik, reduced Krka's deficit to only 3 points, but the guests once again pulled away, scoring from the free throw line. Next to Jovic, the most efficient player in the winning team was Mike Cirbes with 13 points, while the guests' point guard also chipped in with 11 assists. Lazic and Stimac also reached double digits. Top scorer Lapornik had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 steals and 2 assists, but his effort wasn't enough to prevent Krka from losing its 7th match this season. Igor Rakočević left a deep mark in the history of the ABA League. Even though his name is synonymous with Crvena Zvezda, and for a good reason, he made his debut in the regional competition in the inaugural season 2001-2002 with Budućnost, followed by an unsuccessful season in the NBA. As a world and European champion with the national team, Rakočević returned to Crvena Zvezda. In the 2003-2004 season, he scored more than 20 points in 15 games, scoring 33 twice, leading the league with 23 points per game, topping the league in assists and steals as well. He led Crvena Zvezda to a Final Four, dropping 38 points and drawing 20 personal fouls against the eventual champion Reflex in the semi-finals. After 2 overtimes, Crvena Zvezda was defeated 113-110, but Rakočević was named the Final Four's MVP for his unbelievable performance. He found comfort winning the National Cup in the red and white jersey. His journey would take him to Spain, Turkey and Italy, playing on EuroLeague teams, becoming the only player in the history to lead the elite competition in scoring 3 times. Rakočević returned home once again in 2012. Averaging 15 points per game, he led Crvena Zvezda to second place in the regular season and the Final Four in Laktaši. In the semi-final game against Radnički, Rakočević failed to score more than 10 points for only the second time that season, but 9 was enough for a win. He scored 14 in the championship game against Partizan, but couldn't lead his team to victory. He had to satisfy with yet another National Cup trophy after a 20-point performance against the greatest rival. Unexpectedly, he announced retirement after topping the scorers list in the national championship. After a successful playing career, Rakočević is now serving as the vice president of the Serbian Basketball Association. In a hard-fought game, j.t.d recorded its 10th victory, beating MZT in Janez Sandanski Hall 65-60. Jacob Pullen's absence was felt in the first half as j.t.d players frequently lost possessions, allowing the hosts to end the second period with a 5-point lead, thanks to the inform Mijatovic and Drenovac. MZT carried on in the same rhythm after the break, and halfway through the third period they were up by game-high 12 points. Following a timeout, the visiting team set up zone defense and managed to completely interrupt their opponent's rhythm on offense. On the other side of the court, Miro Bilan found his form and brought Cedevita within 2 at the end of the third period. In the final quarter, nothing could separate the two teams until Arapovic and Babic scored to give Cedevita a 66-60 lead with a minute left on the clock, effectively resolving the match. The most efficient player in Cedevita's 7th consecutive triumph was Bilan with 14 points and 10 rebounds, while in MZT, who last tasted victory way back in the 7th round, Drenovac led the scoring list with 18 points. Metalac ended a streak of 3 defeats with a win over Megalex 83-76 in Valjevo. This was the 4th loss of the season, ending a 3-game win streak for Dan Milojevic's team. Even though the teams were even and the outcome of the game uncertain, a large number of turnovers, 38, and a poor field goal percentage took the fun out of this matchup. The youngest team in the championship was struggling from the field and finished the game with a field goal percentage of only 33. Unable to take advantage of their 15 offensive rebounds. Mega started off strong and held the lead during the first quarter. However, once Vladimir Đokic's team took the lead in the second, it never looked back. Metalac struggled from the 3-point line as well. Tomislav Gabric's 4 out of 10 led the team, but the home team made up with a high percentage from the paint. Kutlešić, Malešević and Jevtović really made a difference. Halfway through the third period, the home team held a double-digit lead and managed to fight off all of Mega's attempts at a comeback. The most valuable player for the winning team was Dusan Kutlešić with 20 points and 5 steals. Jevtović scored 4 points less with 5 offensive rebounds. Malešević and Gabric were also among the double-digit scorers. Danilo Nikolić scored 15 for Megalex. Aleksandar Arenitović added 12, but they needed more help from their teammates to overcome the home team. Yet another dramatic game for Partizan, but this time fans in Pionir could celebrate. Olimpija was defeated 76-74, and after the 5th win of the season, Partizan is now leveled with the Slovenian rivals. The team from Belgrade held the lead for the biggest part of the game. In the second quarter, Petar Božićmen went on a 9-1 scoring run to take a 9-point lead, which they held on to until the halftime. The home team was dominant at the beginning of the third period with a game-high 10-point lead. But Olimpija staged a comeback with some long-range shots. Sasha Zagorac alone scored 4 3-pointers. After his jumper with 2 minutes left to play, Gašper Potočnik's men took the lead for the last time. The finish was extremely dramatic, but Jamar Wilson was there to lead the home team to victory. After some earlier struggles, the point guard with a Finnish passport repented with 21 points and the shot to win the game. Olimpija had 4 seconds left to score, but Zagorac missed a 3-pointer for the win. Apart from Wilson, Čedomir Vitkovac stood out for the home team with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Kevin Jones had a double-double with 10 points and 11 rebounds, but wasn't in his best shooting mood. Zagorac topped the scoring list for the visiting team with 16 points. The young Mesicek scored 12 points and Miha Lapornik added 1 less. Sava Lešić is one of the most experienced players in ABA League, not by age since he is only 27, but by the number of seasons spent in the regional championship. Most decorated Slovenian club Olimpija is Lešic's 4th team in Adriatic League, so he is the most adequate to compare the quality of the competition in previous couple of seasons. I started off at Partizan, then moved to Red Star, then to Radnički. Generally, I believe the league stayed on the same level quality-wise, because there is a lot of teams of similar quality. 2 or 3 teams stand out from the crowd and others are literally neck to neck. There isn't much difference compared to previous years. And I believe that is one of the advantages and overall qualities of the league itself.
Samo što je recimo možda imala više tih boljih timova u ovim prethodnim godinama, ali generalno to je dobar kvalitet Jadranske lige.
Olimpija started this season off in ABA League extremely well. After 6 rounds, they had 4 wins and were in the upper part of the table. However, one of the youngest teams in the league was playing on 2 fronts, and this led to a drop-off in the regional championship, where, unlike in Eurocup, they were unable to maintain the momentum. What does Lešić think of the first part of the season for the team from Slovenia's capital?
Mislim da smo dobro bili krenuli.
I think we started off well both in ABA League and in the Euro Cup. However, our game suffered for a while until we got accustomed to that tough rhythm. The team is very young and we needed time to fit in.
Ipak je ekipa dosta mlada, dosta mladih igrača ima I trebalo je vremena da
I think our season in ABA League goes as expected. I think we made two mistakes that we were not supposed to, but we erased one of those by winning here in Belgrade over Crvena Zvezda. We're not too happy about it, but it's reality. When it comes to the Euro Cup, we are playing well. We're one win away from qualifying to the next round. This should motivate both our young players and the veterans to keep on grinding and try to transfer the level of play from Euro Cup to ABA League.
U dalju rundu, što je sigurno za ove mlade igrače I za nas starije dobar podstrek da nastavimo s tim igrama I da to probamo, pošto mnogo bolje igramo u Eurokupu nego što igramo u Jadranskoj ligi, pa te igre iz Eurokupa da prebacimo u Jadransku ligu, to je ABA ligu.
After excelling in a season with Radnički, Lešić stands out in Olympia as well. He's the team's MVP, averaging close to 13 points and 8 rebounds per game, and leads the team in scoring and rebounding. How satisfied is he with his performance this season? In general, I'm pleased with the season I'm having. I'd most certainly be more pleased if we as a team had few more wins in the ABA League. As we have already mentioned, Olympia is one of the youngest teams in the league. Teenagers like Mesićek, Vučetić and Čančar are getting their chance to develop and grow, playing the games in the regional championship and the Euro Cup. What does Sava Lešić think of his young teammates? They are certainly the future of not only Olympia as a club, but the state of Slovenia as well. For sure they have a bright future ahead of them if they continue to work and behave the way they have. They certainly aren't lacking any talent. I think bright future awaits them. After slugging it out with losing effort in 2 games against the league's top teams, Sutjeska finally got the 4th win of the season, beating the red-hot Zadar team at home. The home team didn't start off well in Nikšić, missing way too many open looks. Turnovers led to fast breaks by the visiting team, who was also hot from the 3-point line, scoring 5 out of 7 to a 27-19 lead at the end of the first quarter. Second period turned out to be a competition in missed jumpers, with the home team failing to take advantage of the 6 consecutive missed 3-pointers by Zadar. Žižić got into groove at the end of the first half, and with 2 3-pointers, first 2 for the home team, cut the visiting team's lead to 36-31. The second half started off with points from Albijanić. Ivan Ramljak answered with a 3-point jumper, only to spark an incredible comeback by the home team. With 13 unanswered points, courtesy of Albijanić and Spasojević, Sutjeska won the third quarter 24-7. The home team managed to keep the lead by playing well on the defensive end. Zadar's 3-win streak came to an end with the final score of 71-60. Stats may not be great, Sutjeska was only slightly better in every category, but most importantly they cut the turnovers to only 7, with only 1 in the second half. With the control of paint established, Dušan Dubljevic's team took advantage of their opponent's missed jumpers. In a bleak performance by the visiting team, Ante Delaš stood out with 24 points, followed by Ivan Ramljak's 17. Glenn Cozy spent only 13 minutes on the court and scored only 2 points. The credit for Sutjeska's 4th win goes to Spasojević and Albijanić, scoring 17 and 16 points respectively. Typhoon kept the wind under its wings with another important win, this time winning on the road at Igokea 82-71. Slovenian defending champion won 4 out of their last 5 games, while the champion of Bosnia and Herzegovina lost its 3rd in a row. Even without Siola Clark, the ABA League debutants won thanks to Držić, Bratož and Ponjević hitting a total of 17 3-pointers. Lead constantly changed hands in the first period. However, Ponjević and Držić gave Typhoon an 8-point lead at the end of the first quarter, with the score 24-16. In his best performance this season, Držić kept on rolling in the second period, scoring 7 consecutive points in the first 4 minutes. Igokea attempted to close in on their rivals through Dimić, but Typhoon managed to pull away with 3-pointers by Ponjević, Držić and Bratož, running off to a 17-point lead. The game was pretty much decided in the second period, which saw as many as 11 three-pointers for the Slovenian team. Chapin and Radivojevic couldn't find their rhythm throughout the game, and coach Željko Lukajic was left to watch his team struggle from the sideline. The final quarter was more even as the home team cut the deficit to 8, only to be denied a comeback by Ivan Držić, who scored 5 consecutive points and stretched Typhoon's lead back to 14. Igokea never recovered and ended up losing 82-71. The winning team's top scorers were Držić with 19 points, Bratož with 17 and Ponjević with 16. Dimić with 17 and Radenović with 16 points prevented a much heavier loss for the home team. Tadija Dragicevic is the MVP of the round for the second week running. The power forward once again led Budućnost to victory. He spent 24 minutes on the court in Zagreb and scored 23 points with an excellent field goal percentage, adding 2 rebounds and 2 assists as well, enough to obtain the performance value index of 25. We should mention that Lapornik and Delaš also had high indexes, but since their teams were defeated, the MVP title once again goes to Tadija Dragicevic. We start off our top 5 players of the round review in Skopje. Cedevita's fast break was incited by Džanan Musa, who assisted Luka Žorić for the dunk. Fourth place goes to Olympia's combo Luka Rupnik and Ronald Zakes, and their alley-oop with the shot clock running out. Nikola Jevtovic plays well on both sides of the court. He played a huge part in Metalac's win over Megalex. He stopped Jankovic under his own basket and then finished off with a dunk on the other side. Krka may have been defeated, but Jure Lalic gets the credit for the play of the day in Novo Mesto as he cuts through the visitors' defense for a monster dunk. For the top play of the round, we go to Pionir. Excellent teamwork led Partizan to victory and the top spot on our list. Vetkovac initiated the action, Aranitovic followed with a creative assist, and Milutinovic finished it off successfully. That would be all in this edition of ABBA Magazine. The second part of the season starts next weekend, and we will analyze round 14 in the next edition of our show.